Laura Kate Dale is a games journalist that I was surprised to find out recently worked on Dragon Age the Veilguard. Yeah, this game was notorious for its bad quality, but the fact that Laura worked with BioWare at all is astounding to me, because Laura has had so many public blunders and controversies, onlookers such as me wonder how she has a job in the games industry at all. So let's take a look at maybe one of the worst ever games journalists, Laura Kate Dale.
3, 2, 1.
I first found out who Laura was back when I was a young, bright-eyed optimist, and I decided to check out Jim Sterling's Podquisition podcast. And unlike shows that I thought were cool back then, like Screw Attack's Side Scrollers or the Co-optional podcast, I felt as though there was something off about the Jimquisition. There was just something a bit peculiar about this Laura character.
And it's crotchless, and there is like no mouth opening, no eye opening. There's a zip where the mouth should be. There's tassels and like loops on his bat nipples.
Bat gimp.
You know, yeah, he's bat gimp.
But they aren't just weird and obsessed with lewd content. Laura actually seems to be kind of a bad person. And to be able to properly demonstrate this, there is something first I must inform you of. So you see, this person that we see before us here, Laura is in fact a trans woman that is very autistic. And their identity as an autistic trans woman plays a large role in their journalistic works. I know some of you may be going crazy right now, thinking you need to correct me, but as we can observe, Laura Kate Dale has awarded themselves 2 feminine names, and that speaks for itself, doesn't it? But enough of that, let's look at an infamous tale. And first we must look back to 2013, where Laura was attending the Eurogamer expo. Here there was a competition played on stage for the chance to win an Xbox, and as it was a male-dominated event, the host would make sure that at least one woman would come up on stage each time the game was played. But when Laura was picked from the crowd, disaster struck as the presenter was confused by Laura's gender, leading to an awkward interaction between the two. So Laura took to Twitter to write about this, claiming to be called by the host he, it, thing, and this one. Microsoft even apologised about this after Kotaku wrote an article about the situation, but this did not appease the Transgender Law Centre, and they created a petition asking Xbox to give a real apology. But it came to light that Laura's retelling of the event wasn't quite how it all went down. What's this? A little update to the article signed off on by Laura and the presenter. It has now been made clear that Frasier didn't refer to Laura as an it, or a thing, or a he, and these claims have now been fully retracted by Laura, and she is sorry for the hurt that it caused. So Laura's a straight up liar, straight up lying for attention, dragging this guy's name without a care for his well-being. She even carried on with her lying and went after the Kotaku journalist, claiming she asked them to never run the story. And despite all of this, Laura was awarded the opportunity to talk about this situation in the Huffington Post. In this article, Laura talks at length about the backlash she received, but notably leaves out the fact that her lies were why it became such a high-profile case. See, Laura is one of these strange people that keeps getting in situations like this, but keeps getting hired. Curious. In fact, even though Laura caused all these troubles for Kotaku in this situation, the next blunder I want to talk about is regarding an article that Laura wrote for Kotaku UK. Of course, it's the infamous Super Smash Bros. Soundtrack contains a disability slur article. Let's take a quick listen to the part in question. Nonces all around the world be bobbing their head to this one. So here we have the article written by Laura. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Persona 5 DLC includes a disability slur. This is Laura's transcription of the lyrics. Let's go, let's play, retarded, I can say it. At around 1:57, it appears the term is used, and followed up by the assertion that I can say it. Retarded. And yeah, I guess it does sound like it, but wouldn't you think twice and think that maybe they're just mispronouncing a word like retaliate? Maybe they're misusing a technical word and they're trying to say a term like slow it down. I did realise there is the controversial song from the Black Eyed Peas, and they do use the term as to say, let's get very foolish or stupid in here. But as we now know, this news story is just something that Laura thought that she heard. And it has been theorised that Laura wrote this article to cause issues with Atlas, the developers of Persona 5. This is because she went crazy after the trans representation of another one of their games, Catherine, didn't meet her standards. Oh no, the manual of the game has a fictional person's dead name in it. In a fit of delirium, she even claimed that this was a trans symbol. And the war rages on, she cannot let it go. Every time Persona does something gay, Laura is there to be the judge on whether it's socially acceptable or not. So it's safe to say Laura is a hack and a liar, and she's also a chronic oversharer. How World of Warcraft helped me come out as transgender. Here, Laura talks about her MMO addiction and how role-playing made her realise she was trans. I found a place where I had friends that treated me as female, for better or for worse. I had found a world where I got complimented on my appearance in game, where people were not scared away by my gender presentation. It's really romanticising the experience, but Laura also shares in this that they took the role-playing so far that they were basically just catfishing other players, admitting to finding pictures of their female friends on social media and sharing them with people in-game. Now I thought this was really weird and kind of a gross thing to do, but tons of the comments for this article are talking about how cool this is and how Second Life turned them gay and stuff. So I'm the asshole, I guess. Let's look at something else. And just a word of warning before we go into this next article, we're stepping into too much information territory knee deep. Laura is an individual that has undergone something that is commonly called bottom surgery, and in reflection upon this experience, she decided to write the piece, A Trans Woman's Penis Bucket List. And in said article, Laura details all the experiences she had with her gok before it got the chop. I'll be honest, I don't have a lot to say about this, but I do want to share this little excerpt with you. Get ready to learn what it's like trying to fit the excitement of a lifetime of ownership into a few short weeks. So what did this entail exactly? So there was always gross scenes on TV and film where someone puts their hand in a box of popcorn on a guy's lap and they find out the penis is in the box of popcorn. That's weird, creepy, and the idea of an unexpected penis in a public setting is uncomfortable. Still, I was curious about the experience, so I found a nice safe way to replicate this at home. I brought a box of popcorn at the cinema, took it home on the bus, and stuck my dick in it at home. The salt was painful. The texture of the popcorn was painful. This was not as sexy as creepy men in media tried to make it seem. So I'm gonna go out on a limb, have a brave take here, and say this probably shouldn't be shared with the public. And it seems as though Laura does agree with me on this because this article isn't actually available on Laura's website anymore. Fortunately, we can see what a lot of Laura's work does look like, and it is just as stereotypically trans game journalist as you could ever imagine. Here's Let's Talk About Birdo, where they express jealousy for Birdo's stealth trans MTF status. Here's Why Gender Swapped Dream Daddy Art Bothers Me as a Trans Person. Me, Laura Kate Dale. This is a Polygon article about trans representation that Laura wrote, where in one part she fantasizes about the trans status of Link from The Legend of Zelda, writing, Link can buy more women's clothes beyond what they needed to complete the quest in the city, and I totally get behind a trans girl Link who discovers her identity as a result of having to dress as a woman on this quest before buying additional clothing and running off to save the world. This all feels to me like a low-effort parody. In fact, all of this content reads like if you got a low IQ mouth breather such as Smash JT to satirize trans people in games journalism, this is the sort of thing he'd come up with. Here is the transgender rabbit who got into kinky sex, a Laura K. Buzz expose. Reminder, Rabbid Peach is totally a kinky trans gal. Unfortunately, this article is down as well. I don't think it's been archived. You know, I mentioned before the Gok Chop bucket list being taken down from her website, and this is a common theme for Laura. Although I'm quite familiar with her career to a point that I should probably reflect upon, still, like any YouTuber worth his salt, I did trawl the Kiwi Farms and Reddit to find any little morsels of contents to add to this video. And just so much of Laura's work has been taken off the internet. She just gets stuff wrong or writes something embarrassing or stupid so often, meaning that she's taken so much of her own work down. How Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle leaked 7 months early. PR are not your friends, they will lie to your face. Female perspective VR left me deeply unsettled. NSFW, what we imagine video game for look like. Total Biscuit on dealing with hate. For this one, Kotaku wrote an apology for featuring Total Biscuit in an article for his involvement in Gamergate. And Total Biscuit was outspoken, anti-Trump, and pro-woman. So this wasn't actually Laura's fault, more just the circles that she moves in are just thin-skinned maniacs. And I started thinking, with some of these self-published articles, maybe I'm being stupid, and Laura takes down their work after a while. But no, I can go all the way back to 2014 and read the Peppa Pig pasta shape review still. So it's safe to unfairly conclude that all of this stuff is shit. And somehow, Laura managed to land work with the Great British Broadcasting Company because of their expertise in the games industry. Here is Laura on the telly discussing the dangers of playing Doki Doki Literature Club. And here she is protesting the same people that got her work because one article was written that she didn't like.
Back in August of last year, my wife and I made UK news for getting married on a train together.
Oh really? Laura loves trains. The autistic blue-haired games journalist that writes about fictional creatures being trans heckin' loves trains. So much so, her and her beautiful wife got married on one. Just look at this glorious wedding. And I can't help but notice here that Laura's wife has a Laura K. Buzz brand tattoo on their arm. And on the other arm, they have a Jimquisition tattoo as well. Looking into this, the train event wasn't even a legally binding marriage, so technically they didn't even get married on a train. Yet they are on Cameo doing birthday greetings as the couple that got married on a train.
Hi Talia, my name's Laura.
And I'm Jane.
And we are the couple that got married on a train back in August.
Fraudulent. Fraud, I say. Sorry, keep it going.
An Avanti West Coast train.
125 miles an hour.
On that Pendolino train. It was meant to be on the Pride Pendolino, and that didn't happen in the end. But we had our wedding on a train. We're here to wish you a happy birthday. We hear it's your birthday in January, and we just want to wish you a really happy day. And we hope you have a lovely one.
Happy birthday.
And thank you for thinking our gay wedding on a train was cool. Trains are good.
Trains are good.
Here's Laura doing a guest speaker spot at a university. Unfortunately, we don't get any other angles than this. So although she answers questions at the end from the audience, my headcanon is that she's speaking to an empty room. And look, we've had a bit of a laugh looking at some of her work, but I'm going to try my hands at a bit of a serious critique now, so bear with me. Laura is so giga autistic that despite them being a high-functioning professional, she cannot comprehend subtextual clues in conversations.
The game included subtitles explaining the non-verbal subtext of what was going on in that scene, and I've not been able to stop thinking about that for years.
And even though Laura can understand this about herself, she believes she is an authority as to what is contextually appropriate content in video games. Here she is criticising Yakuza Like a Dragon for featuring homeless stereotypes.
Additionally, and perhaps more upsettingly, several of the in-game enemy types are homeless people with names played off as puns. It's incredibly jarring to finish a cutscene about the plight of homeless people, only to enter a turn-based battle against Hungry Hungry Homeless and Battle Bum. At the time of recording this video, I have not yet finished playing through Yakuza Like a Dragon. Right now, the stereotype-based pun names have been off-putting, they've been distasteful. None of them has been the straw that broke the camel's back yet and has made me stop playing, but I know that I could turn any corner in this game and find a new stereotype-based villain that could be the one to get me to stop playing.
Laura lives in a world where a fear of homeless puns is ruining her gaming experience, and feels as though a serious critique needs to be made about the game because of this. Oh, and look, this too is unlisted. Great job, Laura. But all of these endless fails has not deterred Laura to continue to work in the games industry and to find her niche.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Accessibility. It's a show on YouTube where I talk about the video game industry, accessibility, and representation. I'm your host, Laura. I'm a white woman with bright blue hair, shaved on one side, wearing a plain black dress.
that being accessibility in games. This being driven by Laura's own neurodivergence. She is so mega disabled that they even got picked to be part of Twitch's Limitless Talents team, getting front page promotion on their lovely website. And she posts videos on YouTube talking about such topics as gaming with aphantasia. Basically, she gets lost really easily in games. And this genuinely does get to me a bit because I don't want every game to be designed like a bloody Ubisoft game.
Video games with mini-maps, objective markers, and placeable map pins really help in this regard, as I can reference them every few seconds if needed to see where I need to head next, rather than needing to recall that visual imagination.
And I'll be honest, some of the accessibility stuff is noble work, but when you get Stephanie Sterling on talking like this...
Though I'll admit ADHD brain doesn't like reading a ton of text, which really sucks because, well, I like books in theory. As for a Metroidvania, well, even if they have maps unlike Carrion, remembering where to go, what does what, where I needed to head after I got the item that lets me do new stuff, my brain. I'm not asking for a game to be its own walkthrough, but those compasses and mission markers and glowing trails that people complain is spoon-feeding and hand-holding and casualization. To some of us, it's the difference between playing a game and our brains locking up like Bethesda software at launch.
These bloody Hollow Knight developers should not be spending their time doing anything but trying to make their new game as good as it can be.
Slopes!
Taking time away from that so Stephanie Sterling doesn't get lost while playing it is time spent poorly. And yes, this isn't a side on Jim now, but in this video he talks so helplessly about his ADHD, it is unbelievable.
Before I learned to just get rid of most of my shit, I could fill a whole house with junk and find myself unable to clean it because I wouldn't know where to start. Not just a momentary, oh this is so messy, where to begin? Most people think that and then just start cleaning. I can't. It becomes too big in my head, too unknowable. I literally cannot comprehend where to start, so I don't. Not for a long time when I just get too upset anyway.
You're too overwhelmed and sad to clean your house, give me a break. Jim Sterling has consistently released videos for over a decade. They've achieved a lot. But now they've become this helpless person that needs their hand held every step of the way through their life when they make content about video games for a living.
A lot of gamers I spoke to while preparing the script for this video noted that one major way to help make games more accessible to them was to ensure that barriers to jumping back into a game after failure were minimised. A lot of gamers I spoke to cited regular checkpoints and the ability to quickly jump back into the game after failure were important to them, as lengthy portions of backtracking over content that has already been played was often a trigger for them to lose focus and lose interest in the game they're playing.
Could you just take out one of the core mechanics of Hades because it might upset disabled people? Yeah, I'm being a bit hyperbolic, who cares? Books. I mentioned the Mario's butt book, and that's all it is. She's written an entire book about video game butts. I don't think everyone needs to be a smooth asexual being online, but the constant lewding and everything being about, butts. It's just a horrible thing to base your personality around. They've written a book about their life as an autistic trans.
I wrote a book about it in which I talk about things like it being really uncomfortable to shave or to wear makeup because of sensory oversensitivity.
Bad luck. And this one I'm really not a fan of. A trans children's picture book, Me and My Dysphoria Monster. It's just a big red flag. It's just a big, huge red flag. Just redness emitting and pulsating around my entire being. Redness covers the entire world and we are in hell. When I see this probable sex addict that finds lewdness in literally everything they do embark on a project such as this. The moral of the story of this book is that 10-year-olds should go and speak to elder queers for guidance on being trans.
You are enough here at Queer Kid Stuff.
And Rainbow Story Time!
Hi friends, welcome to Queer Kid Stuff. I'm Linz. Today we're reading Me and My Dysphoria Monster.
Okay, well that's the TOS alarm. We can't continue this segment any further. And yeah, Dragon Age. Hot take, yeah, this game looks like absolute shit.
Pounding that snake's nose. She's still holding the ruby in her other hand. Maker's panties. I was so proud.
Oh,
Ah, shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
She didn't do any of the writing on it, you know, she's not Alana Pierce. But, you know, they hired her, they're hiring people that wrote this, so, you know. And that's about it, really. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. There's not going to be a long wait till the next one. Thanks for watching.